Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Off the Cuff podcast with your hosts, myself, Mr. TM Cycles, Thomas Moore. We've got Josh Bridgman, and we have a bit of a fragile
Joe Brightman here in the corner.
in a corset.
Post-op.
Turn him on a little bit, actually, I think.
It's nice, isn't it?
Welcome to our first episode of one of the best fitness podcasts out there already. Number one, I'm sure. We are going to be taking this on a weekly podcast. I think we booked in per week, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
So very excited to get a few guests on and see how it progresses. Wanted to discuss a little bit about Josh's just say no problem.
Yeah.
But we wanted to first do a little introduction. I feel like it's been a while since we did a last kind of BBC podcast together.
Long time.
I think that was back in lockdown.
I think even 2019 maybe.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. So obviously, congratulations to Mr. JB for getting his pro card.
Yeah, I think it feels like ages ago now. Thank you very much. I guess we've not addressed it as a 3. I finally joined Joe's elite ranks.
Done now. A lot happened. A lot has happened actually since we last caught up publicly as a 3.
Yeah.
We had there was a few YouTubes together, but like you said, it's not a chance for us. They were all training. It wasn't a chance for us to catch up about what's been going on, probably what we're doing going forward. A lot's changed in Tom's life in terms of retiring from competitive.
I've done it all now.
At the top, retired at the top.
I've done it all now. I feel like a bit of the odd one out, not with the pro card, but I did what I needed to do this season.
It was never about that for you.
No, it was never about that. It was never about that. It was about redemption for me and about kind of proving to myself that I can somewhat. I mean, I think condition, we can all agree, has been a big area for me that I've struggled with in the past, but it's something that I've got better at. But yeah, it was just a case of me getting out there and doing my thing and managed to get a third at PCA and win the FitX. So I'm pretty happy with that.
I think you got a lot out of this season. I think like from my standpoint, you went dark mode at times.
Yeah.
Just head in the game. And I think when I go through processes like that, I learn a lot about that scenario.
Yeah.
And like you had to go dark mode on those times. I mean, what was it? Hours of cardio?
Yeah. I mean, I said to you, I think because I started prepping lockdown, I didn't have that intensity and that level of push from you guys when we were training. It was waking up every morning, going to that 7R gym, and the only bit of real kind of oomph was Gigi being there as a cameraman. But it was freezing, it was dark, and then it made the switch when I thought I'm a bit behind here. And then obviously Cal, you can kind of gauge from your coach when they think you're behind by sort of politely saying, "Do you fancy taking this drug?"
Yeah.
And I thought,
do you want to try this one?
Yeah, I don't really want to touch. Is it DMP?
Yeah, DMP.
As soon as I heard Cal say that, I thought, oh shit.
Am I that far?
I need to really up my game here. So it was a case of me kind of taking on board that and then just going dark. It's good. I find solace in those kind of periods of time. I think it has a very beneficial impact on you as an individual. And I think this year for me has been very much about self-improvement and kind of pulling certain areas from prep into kind of business now and getting my head down has been fantastic. So yeah, it's been incredible.
Yeah, and I guess like you've turned that page from bodybuilding now, and like you said, you've taken so many things from that journey into the new venture. Yeah,
I'm really excited to go into something and to start creating content again that I want to create. Yeah. I think me and you and even yourself at times can agree. You get to that stage whereby you're like, I don't really want to do this particular topic, or
I think there's a lot to be said for that continuum of bodybuilding. You know, it's like we've got the real extremes, and that kind of sells, but it's quite niche. We've all been, I think, very open about just experiencing life, and not like there's period of times where obviously we go and really, really commit to a process like prep or whatnot, but Josh is off on holiday in a few weeks. Like there's a massive market for actually, like you said, optimal well-being, but also
bigger market as well.
Yeah, a massive market for it, and I think that needs like a champion in the industry really, because particularly for males, we're dominated by, you know what I mean, that alpha, that intensity, which there does have to be to get to the top level of bodybuilding, but not everyone wants to step on the Olympia stage.
No, of course.
Exactly.
I feel like I maybe turn people off sometimes talking about like competing, because for me it has always been IFB Pro Card, Olympia, whatever. That's not the goal for everyone. A lot of people just like competing. Do you know what I mean?
But that, of course, but then that was my issue this year. Well, I barely jumped off stage from the PCA, and I had Cuba having a go at me. I had the other fella, what's his name, Scott, saying I was getting wrapped up and washed up in low-level shows. I was like, well, I won it and came third, so I don't know quite how I'm getting washed up. But it's like, and then when I had a conversation with Cuba back and forth, I was saying, not everyone wants to be. Like, my individual goal was to beat my body power physique, and I did that.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah, I see, like from probably the other side of it, where I do want to be that, and I do want to be one of the best in the world. Like, I can understand how it's like, as a coach as well, and you get someone who's maybe a little bit more casual, and they go, I want to go out drinking every weekend. Sometimes I find that quite hard to relate to, and I'm like, you're going to get to your goal, but it's going to be even slower now. And for me, it doesn't compute as well. So I get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But you said that from the start.
Yeah.
From day one, you've been bodybuilding. Like, this is a hobby. I'm not trying to be Olympia stage. I'm not trying to be a pro. Like, this is me just giving my all to something.
That's massive for like that gen pop, that bigger market, because like, you know, there's a real small percentage of people whose goal is to be the best in the world, right? A lot of people just want to be happier, healthier, eat what they want, do what they want, and not feel on a Monday like, oh, I really fucked it this weekend, you know? And actually, I think if you're giving people that understanding that you can do both, like, that's fine. Like you said, Josh, we probably maybe struggle at times to relate to people. If someone says to me that I want to compete, but then they're out each week drinking, I'm struggling a little bit. But as long as they understand that there's times in the year where it has to be that, and like you said, there is a way to do it, then I think that's beneficial to anyone. And the final thing I'll say, just on the Cuba, the Scots wench thing, is and I've learned a lot about this. Like, if you're doing something that's not impacting or hurting anyone else, like, does it really fucking matter? You know what I mean?
I know.
I don't.
I actually put that on my story. Yes, I say the worst kind of not the worst kind of person, but you don't need to be someone who's annoyed at something that doesn't change the course of your life. Even have a little side dent into it. It's just leave it in it.
Yeah, 100%.
No, that's good. And like, I like how you're coming at that flow with like a multi-pronged approach. You've obviously got the coaching, which you're going to do. I'm assuming you're going to do it in like 12-week blocks.
Yeah, for me anyway, and just in business in general, I've always not struggled with, but this continual open door for online coaching. It didn't really fit with me. I'm a project guy. We're going to be releasing something on this date. I'm a reverse engineer, market from this period to this period. That works a lot better for me. So and it also allows me to gather more hype. You know, I'll probably do two like drops, two coaching drops a year. So I'll do maybe like a kind of Santa Shred, and then we'll do the Ibiza Classic, which was fantastic last year. Obviously, Mr. Max is working with yourself now, and it just gives me that, like I said, it gives me that time to kind of do my little 7 days out, and then it allows me. I work better. My OCD gets, you know, really flares up at times. So I work so much better where everyone starts at the same time.
Yep.
Everyone ends on the same time. If those people want to continue, then we'll just carry them over. Or if they want coaching from that point, send them to you, and it's perfect. So yeah, the coaching thing, a couple of drops a year, and then now we are kind of venturing into a lot more. You've probably seen it on my Instagram with food and things like that.
Yeah.
And
is there a cookbook coming?
Well, I think we're going to be doing a poached TM cycles or poached.
Nice.
We'll be doing a poached one, and we'll just start off to kind of test the water with like a breakfast.
Yeah.
So obviously my friend Luke owns a couple of poached, one in Dulwich and in Beckenham. It's a phenomenal, and his particular style and branding in, like, you've been to his shops.
Yeah,
that fits
I've been
perfect.
there as well.
Yeah, of course you went to the Beckham one, of course. So that fits perfectly. So we'll see how we got and do like I think breakfast is quite a big. It's something that a lot of people struggle with as well.
I agree.
So that's why I thought let's try and do a kind of not just a cookbook. And I bought Courtney D. Black. You know Courtney D. Black? I bought her book the other day. I think she's absolutely nailed it. Like, I take such inspiration from female kind of fitness influencers. A lot of what they say, you think, oh, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. But I think their marketing and their kind of ability to nail that clean, fresh look, and so we saw what happened with Kira London during lockdown.
Yeah, she killed it.
Oh my God! I mean, you start.
That was just from live shows, wasn't it?
That was just, yeah. So if you start calculating, I think she charged £15 a month, and she had like started on 30,000. You think that's insane. And so I looked at that. I'm like, how can I kind of be a male version of these females?
Yeah.
You know, how can I attract and get on board guys that are like almost desperate? Like, mate, I'm really struggling with my diet. I want to look good, but I also want to go out. So yeah, I think we're gonna start with a breakfast and see how we get on, like 30 breakfast ideas, but also use the book as the chance, the kind of introduction to help you work out your calories, to help you work out meal timings and understand nutrients a little better. So yeah, definitely we'll start with that, and then the bigger picture will be like a kind of Joe Wick style
Nice.
bigger
That's very
cookbook.
good.
Yeah,
I think again that's something you do really well, Tom, in terms of like bringing again that like mainstream connection that someone even wouldn't even like put those two together. Like, you know, a breakfast restaurant and you know, being shredded sort of thing. That's like, it's fantastic. And like you said, breakfast, everyone thinks dirty fry up, and actually there's so many options when it comes to like having a healthy, you know, or low calorie, high protein, low fat sort of breakfast that tastes good and sets you up for a day. So that's fantastic. I think the female thing as well is unreal. Blokes are typically bad at like marketing or making things look nice. I think that's just male female, isn't it? The sort of creativity side of things. And
it's tricky. It's hard though, because you also you kind of, I'm almost entering. I'm not rebranding in the sense that TM Cycles is still staying there. You know, he's not going anywhere, but it's you get a little bit nervous at times. You're like, I'm changing a lot here, and a lot of my posts, when I'm looking back and I'm doing my little camera, thinking it looks a little bit feminine. Am I almost going to be turning guys away here? But it's not that, and you know, and that's why I'm very hot on analytics and kind of looking at different posts. I mean, me and you said that in Crayford the other day. I think the whole industry is having a bit of a dip when it comes to views on YouTube
at the moment. For sure.
So you've got to take that into consideration. But it's not daunting, but it's a little bit nerve-wracking at times, kind of going into that brand new environment. But that's why TM Cycles is staying, and we have the Flow Instagram page, Flow by More Instagram page, just for recipes and workout ideas. And you know, it's the little details that I pick up on. Like the whole point of me like buying a Ned membership was just to use their gym. So I see that as an investment. I think, right, if I want all of my gym and footage to be in that one gym, just so when they're scrolling through, there's no like dark greys of Muscle Works, so there's no reds of Crayford.
Yep, it's all consistent.
Do you know what I mean? It needs to be. That's why when you first started working with Andy, I was like, kept saying to you, your Instagram page is fucking brilliant, man.
Yeah, it's just all consistent from there.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
I think that's really good. I think it's funny. One of the questions I noted down was, I was saying like 2022 for you feels like a turning page. How are you feeling about it? Which I guess you opened openly, but also like, do you still get nervous about a new product or service?
Massively.
Yeah, I think especially after however you define this, you've been like successful, you've done well at what you've done. I think rebranding when you have done things very well already, it's quite a daunting thing. Rebranding when it's going shit, all right, cool, I understand. It's like you need to reinvent your product, but you know,
that's why I didn't really want to see it. I mean, I had a Nando's with Luke Johnson the other day, and he was like, "Are you I mean, is TM Cycles going?" I was like, "Definitely not." You know, it's almost Flow by TM Cycles,
of course,
because I think if that name goes, then that is, you know, I'm entering kind of
the death.
Murky, and then TM Cycles never going to die unless someone fucking kills me. I don't think anyone's going to kill me. So
have you found that process? I mean, I guess there's been a transition period where you've closed down the website or vaulted it. Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sitting on 220 videos of content over the last 3 or 4 years, and you know, love or hate Jamie Alderton. Sometimes I hate him, sometimes I like him. He nailed it the other day and said, "You're sitting on a gold mine. If you know that, don't get rid of that." No, he didn't say that to me personally. I don't think he really likes you that much. He just
you want to turn the call to him.
Yeah, you're right, James. But he did a post about, you know, people that have got that much content are sitting on a gold mine. Yeah. And talk about fucking passive income. Jesus Christ. I sit there, one little post, I say, it markets itself, it sells itself. I've got 220 videos talking about steroids, how to inject, our off seasons together, and you know, anyone wants to go and see 6 months worth of hard work in the gym, you've got us. So that just sits there, that's not going anywhere. But then you've obviously got the new flow site, which will be very educational, green screen slides, and it's picking apart, you know, this is why I do surveys all the time and take on board feedback. Even little instances when I'm out on nights out, I always take on board what people say, you know, oh, you get it all the time, or how do you work out your calories, or just things like that. I think that question's coming up so much. I need to make content for that. So it just, boom, it's there. It sells itself. What about you two moving forward? How's the 1MR going?
Yes, it's going well. I feel very lucky at times, for sure. I feel like I kind of fell into this somewhat of a niche with the accessory game. Yeah. But I'm getting those teething issues. You know, as you're trying to grow the business, as you're trying to reinvest in, you get those teething issues, whether it be supply chain, whether it be where you're getting your actual products from, whether it be having issues with your product. Is a lot to carry on. So like, I actually employed someone now, like to kind of take over customer service, which is my first you know,
First
my first,
employee.
first
It
big
is-
boy
yeah,
move.
Cool, it is your first
Where I was
employee.
like, I can't handle this aspect of the business anymore. I need
Yeah.
someone to take over it in terms of customer service.
Yeah.
So, like, it's all moving. It's just on a little bit of a halt at the moment with
Mm.
with the supply chain, which has been a bit frustrating. But no, it's been really good, man. It's been really good.
Where do you see that going? I know I always find those sort of like, what's your 5-year plan? A bit cringy. Where do you see it going? Doesn't he have to put
Yeah.
a time frame on it?
I think if you'd asked me last year, or maybe 6 or 7 months ago, I wouldn't have had a clue. And I think over that last 6 to 12 months, I've had more messages, more interaction about the brand, and it's becoming very much, oh, you got those cuffs? Nice one, bro. Like little nod of like, you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, which kind of is quite nice to feel. Like, so I'd like to bring that band of understanding across as many gyms across the world as I possibly can.
But you can see your impact is on other brands. Because now,
Yeah,
now
100%.
everyone's doing it.
100%. Everyone's doing it.
And it not that I'm taking credit at all for member sites, but I remember me and you speaking about. I remember releasing my member site about 4 years ago and bricking myself because JP.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my, I can't.
Yeah.
That's one person.
100%.
There's one, and now everyone's doing a member site, and I'll have a business call with someone, and they'll say, yeah, I'm thinking of doing a business, and I'll just be brutal and think, what are you actually bringing to the table? Like I have to inject a bit of realism into the situation for you, because I think people just see $5.99, 1,000 members, a 6-bag a month, and I think, well, you ain't getting 1,000 members.
Yeah.
Like, believe me,
It's hard.
It is hard graft. Like, it took me 3 or 4 years to get to 3.5, 4,000 members. And that's a conversion from my amount of followers. So I remember absolutely shitting myself and thinking, do you think JP's going to message me and say, what are you doing? And I do member sites.
Of course.
So at that point I was like, I need to do something really, really niche. But now you can see the impact you're having, because all of this kind of solo single brands are like, I'm releasing my own cuffs.
Yeah, starting to pick it up.
And they're dog shit compared to yours.
I know. That's a shame.
That's why I'll happily put it out there. I'll say these are the best cuffs in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I'm honestly, until I get proven otherwise, like, I'll stand by that as well.
Yeah.
And I generally try and stand by that of all my products. And if you prove me wrong, then cool. I'll happily take
Yeah,
it.
cool. And it's like the long rope. These little things, I just think that's perfect. When are they coming out?
So they're part of the ones that are stuck on the supply chain.
Okay.
They should have been here. Literally any week, I'm hoping they're going to get released from customs, and we got loads and loads of them. But yeah, this is just like little stuff that we've done for years. Like, before I don't even want to say I coined it. Like, other people coined it. I just used it and just thought, why has no one else done this? And it kind of seemed pretty obvious at the time. So I did a few little things, improved those little things, and wildfire.
Yeah,
The cuffs were a huge gap in the market. I remember almost when I saw you do it, I was like, fuck. 'Cause I remember shopping when I first joined Cal. He sent me his shopping list. I think we literally had the same thought, but you obviously joined him a lot before me. And he sent me them aero slings that were like,
Yeah, 25 quid for one.
brilliant.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
25 quid for one.
I'm not fucking getting them. So I went
So
on.
how much they were? 25 quid for one.
For
little-
one. So you're paying 50 quid
loop.
for two. And it's a bit of,
I
like,
just spent 175 quid on coaching. I haven't got another 50. I was at John Lewis at the point, and I was like, do you know what would be a good idea? Some cuffs. And then Josh did it, and I was like, fuck.
We should start investing into one MR, I reckon.
yeah, I'll take some investment.
I've got some money sitting there. I'll happily invest
Yeah.
into one MR. That'd be a very good idea.
I'll take some marketing directive.
Mate, all the one MR links
Director.
are on my coaching sheets, all the equipment list.
No, I appreciate it. And there's a lot of people who are kind of supporting it in that way, who are coaches. Like, I get people sent to me all the time, so and so has sent me to your cuffs. And it's quite a proud moment, because like, I did put a lot of effort into it. They seem pretty simple, but like, they took me a good 6 to 8 months to perfect.
And there's a couple of cuffs. There's a thicker one.
Yeah. So we've developed as we've gone. We had the regular ones, which kind of fit like 95% of people. And you've got people like Joe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there.
Yeah.
But they're a little bit tight. And I was watching you use them the other day, actually. And I can see, like, this may cause a little bit of instability into the rings. So we've got extended ones for people with bigger arms. But we've also had the issue with, obviously, girls or females or people who are a little bit smaller, shorter, thinner, lighter, having a little bit of a slip on the wrist when we use the bigger ones. So we made the thin ones to kind of counteract them as well. So we have 3 styles. You can just pick, and we kind of hit.
They are honestly so good, and I'm not surprised that there becomes a point, I think, when a product is so good, whether someone follows you or not, likes you or not. Like, even if I didn't like you, or if someone didn't like you, they're still the best cuffs for my clients to use. Like, when I did that training program, which is like my sort of first foray into that, I was like, Josh, do you want to give me a link or some kind of, and I'll track how many people are buying them, because I'm going to give them to all my clients, because these cuff movements are now the best, or in my opinion, some of the best hypertrophy movements we can do. And I'm going to get them to use your cuff. So when you do something that is so, undoubtedly and not unarguably the best, product, like, people are going to stand up and notice it, and obviously they have, based on the numbers that you've done. Which I remember when you first shared, I think you said you'd sold 5,000 pairs, and I was like, fucking hell. I used to work at John Lewis, mate. We didn't used to sell out 100 like t-shirts and stuff. It's unbelievable numbers. It's incredible. I just want to rewind a bit, because I feel like, I don't know, if we don't do it this episode, we won't do it on any, but I want to talk about the last year, which for you, competing, in terms of like competing, has been, I mean, was the day you won your pro card the best day of your life?
100%.
So let's just rewind a bit, because I don't know if we will. Let's just talk us through that prep, like maybe the start point. Was there any moments where you really sort of broke down? Is there any times where you thought it's not going to happen? Was there a moment when you think it is going to happen?
Yeah.
Let's just understand that a little bit.
Yeah. I think this prep was it was probably mentally quite hard this year. I think there was a lot of pressure. Just like people, you know what it's like on social media. You're going to win your pro card, bro. There's no way you're not going to win. But every day, 20, 30 times. And obviously as you get leaner and leaner, it gets progressively worse. So there was a lot of pressure, which I'm quite good at ignoring, but I had a lot of pressure on myself. Like, my realistic expectations are, if I'm not getting this pro card today, I'm not made for this sport. Like, or if I'm not getting it this year. If I'm not getting it within 3 or 4 shows, I was like, I ain't good enough. I need to be that standout. And that's kind of the pressure that I put on myself. So it was definitely extremely focused this year. Like, my head was on. I wasn't going to let anything slip. And like, I didn't miss a beat at any point. I think when I knew that it was on for real, like, because you obviously, you kind of have your realistic expectations, but you never truly know until you're there. Like, it's hard to believe that you're that good. For me, it was hard to believe that I was that good to win what I won. So, the time that I believed it was when I kind of went up to that MK show, and I kind of looked at the footage, and I looked back and I thought, I am actually a class above here. Like, there is something to this physique that's making me think that I can really do this. Yeah. And the head judge was just like, I don't know whether you can be beat on an amateur stage. Like, that's what he said. And I was like, whether he's gassing me up or not, I don't get to hear that from a head judge. I was like, wow, I'm really going to be in for this. And then obviously I went to Portugal. That was the first one. Genuinely believe I should have won that.
That was a whisker, right? You were in the overall.
Yeah, I was in the overall. Like, as soon as, like, put me in the middle of my class, didn't move me, I was like, oh shit, it's on. Like, I am actually that good now. This is crazy. I've dreamt about this for years. Being at Arnold Classics, the Arnold Classics that we met, I remember being there and getting like 7th or 8th and looking at those top guys and thinking, that is like almost unreachable. And now I'm doing it, so which is crazy. Definitely should have beaten that guy, in my opinion. Still going to say that, don't mind, even though I lost. And then I knew it was on. I knew it was on, because any other day in any other country, that's me, so.
Yeah. It's funny, I can, go on.
That's what I just loved about, because I think I finished, my last show was, I mean, we was in like, were you still competing when we was in Marbella? Was he still going at it?
No, he's done.
I think I was just done.
He's done and dusted. But that was that, I mean, that to kind of pull inspiration from just your, I remember watching your story, I can't remember what show it was, but you were just like, nope, didn't get it, on the plane now, Airbnb tomorrow. I just thought, fuck me. Do you know how many people crumble?
It had to be. And you know what, like, I came off stage and I would have loved to have won it there, because my mum was there for one.
Yeah.
My girlfriend Cal was there, which was like really special. And obviously Andy. And we had the whole like camera and everything. And I came off stage and like, my mum knows how to be around me. My girlfriend doesn't know too much. Like, when I'm lost, like, I second overall pretty good. I'm like, nah, this is done. We get in the car, no one said nothing, probably like 20 minutes. And I just kind of went, right, we're going to Alicante then.
Yeah.
And like, that was it. I had to like have my 20 minutes of hurt, of pain.
Yeah, of course.
Have a little tear and be like, all right.
And who was go to the next Alicante?
Just Amy. Yeah. So we flew straight from Portugal, spent 7 days in Alicante, and then flew back on that Monday. But if I didn't get it on that Sunday, I was ready to fly to Russia the week after, and had somewhere else the week after. But
I'm sat here just grinning, listening to it. I know we've spoken about it before, but like, I want other people to understand, like, that's just so relatable for me to listen to. Like, and I remember from the pressure that you were putting onto yourself. Like, I remember I was having this conversation. I must have had it 3-4 times before we prep had even started. Like, I remember saying to you, bro, like, I know how much pressure you're going to be under. Like, if you need anyone just to like vent to, just drop me a message, because the pressure you put on yourself. Forget the pressure everyone else puts on you. The pressure you put on yourself to be like, like this is my dream, and if I don't achieve it now, I'm not going to be good enough. Like that's a horrible realization.
Yeah, it's hard.
I relate to that, and then even like the journey, mate. Like the I bet it was. I know what you mean exactly when you say it was after that first show. Even though the standard was a different, like you're cut above everyone. When you see yourself, and when you wake up and you almost don't believe it's you, and you're like, I'm a pro physique now. Because I told you, I think this probably didn't help, but I remember telling you like 8 weeks out, I was like, I remember at the start of prep thinking like he's probably gonna do it. 8 weeks out, I was like, yeah, it's job done really at that point. And then when you start competing, and obviously I was watching from afar, which was a bit shit for me, like very selfishly, but I really wanted us to be together for that prep, and it just didn't work out that way. And but I just remember seeing, I was like, he looks crazy. And then Portugal, I was like, I thought he's done it. And then it's funny the way it works, isn't it? It's like the perfect time for it to all happen, it didn't happen. But I think that that like first class win, or that first class win on a big stage and in the overall, I think that was the moment when I truly, like before I thought it, and then at that point I truly believed it. I was like, I'm in an overall, but I've been moved into the middle. Like it's a matter of time for me now. So that is really cool.
Do you think you both performed a little bit better once that stress was alleviated, in the sense that I remember, so you got your pro card completely on your Todd, and you got your pro card with just Amy. So I remember watching yours. I was running around Bromley Glades trying to connect to the Wi-Fi, going, fuck, he's on. And then I sat down outside Holland Barrett and watched you take your pro card. It was very emotional. Must have looked a bit weird, but from like a pressure standpoint, do you think that kind of alleviation of...
I just remember I think at that point for me, and probably Josh the same, it was like, it was just about getting a job done. When it got to that point, it was like, I remember having that conversation, like because I never planned to go to that Denmark show, but after I got that first class win and I was in an overall, and I was like, right, it's gonna happen. And I just, at that point, I don't know, something alleviated from me, I think. I don't think I felt any pressure or nervousness going to Denmark at that point. Obviously, that you can see like I broke down, you were like looking to the skies, and like you can see it all pour out. But I don't know if the pressure was off. I think it's just when you start truly believing yourself, it's actually another level. The doubt is gone.
That's the thing. As soon as I had that, like, I'm in the center with this dude, and I look back at the footage, and I can see what looks good and I can see what doesn't, and I know that I look good, And I was like, that's the first time in my whole career I went, I can do this. I can honestly get to the top. I can do it. And so that kind of gave me a lot of confidence into those kind of like final 6 days. But because it was an Arnold Classic, actually for me, I felt the pressure quite a lot, because it was like, actually, there is like 60 people here. There is a lot of people here, and they all look unreal. But obviously when you're backstage, you don't know what it looks like until you stand next to them.
Yeah, cool.
And I got to beat every single one of these, or actually got to come in the top 3 in the overall. So I definitely felt that pressure, but I was better in Portugal visually because it was a little bit earlier in the day. But I'm glad it happened the way it did, because that was a very sweet victory regardless.
Yeah, and just because the reason why I ask is because obviously that change in how you dealt with pressure this year with your showings, Joe, and about how, because I said to you before we started, it's crazy for obviously your close mates to see you physically change in the space of 12 hours.
Yeah.
In the sense that the pictures that you posted like a night before, I used to think, oh my God.
Yeah. I know. I remember it's very bittersweet. That was like that whole experience for me. I think I've probably spoken about it a few times. We've probably not spoken about it. I don't know if it's like particular probing questions, but as for like an experience for me, like as you said, a bit more positively, like it just taught me so much about bodybuilding and about prepping and about that experience and what I need to enjoy it, what I need to, and therefore what I need to what I need to enjoy it, and then what that therefore impacts my performance. Because you'll know, anyone I've never been one to, I don't edit pictures, I don't filter them, I don't do nothing. And I was watching it happen and thinking, what is going on here? Like, remember the first time, I think I've still got that picture from when I'd gone to the third show in Miami, when that was undoubtedly my worst showing. But the pictures from 3 days before, after I'd done 3 days of 50 grams of carbs and half an hour stepper every day, I should have been flat as fuck and I looked incredible. Yeah. And then, show day came and I looked absolutely shite. And I couldn't work out. Now I can look back and I can only say it must have been the stress.
But was you feeling any of that? Because I really want to I like getting into people's fucking minds and that. So on that day of the showing, you talk about waking up and that sort of positivity and that excitement not being there to previous shows. Do you think that had that much of an impact whereby it would impact condition or
I think, I mean, it's the only thing that I can put it down to. It really is. Like, I think by the third show, I really was not enjoying any of the process.
No.
The second show, I don't know, that was kind of a dip, like Milwaukee. I remember, because obviously I came off, it's annoying because I look back and that it all seems like a failure, but actually, you know, roll back to New York and like top 10, that's all I ever set out to do. That was crazy. It was unbelievable. And that, I think, almost put me on a bit of a high. I was like, oh, maybe Milwaukee, smaller show, first time it's ever been done, not as many people know about it. I might get top 5 here. And instead it was like, I don't know, third call outs. And I think that just knocked me for 6. I think after that I was like, it's not my day today.
It was tough, man. It was tough watching you being out there. You know,
so many people said that.
You know, I remember a couple of times. I think, you know, I can't even fucking give him a hug, or do you know what I mean? Just be there, grab a bit of food with him, even though you can't eat. Just being in the presence of someone who's going through a bit of a fucking shit time. Can't do any of that. You're on the other side of the world. It's wild. So you know, it must have been, the isolation must have been mental to deal with.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think being on your own was the biggest impact, or was there other factors at play?
It was definitely a very big impact, which at the time I didn't realise. My expectations of the prep where it's going to be, I was going to be living a dream, you know, flying over to America, hopping from state to state, like, this is crazy. And then obviously Louis came with me initially. Phoebe was out there as well, so there's a few familiar faces that I saw, and just the general buzz of like the New York Pro was incredible. And then obviously Louis had to go home. And I knew that, I always knew that was happening. Like, it was just the way it was going to be. And I was always, mentally, I was prepared for that, but I don't think I really was. I think to go through that, like, Groundhog Day every day, you don't even, I remember going to, when I got to Milwaukee, I'd gone from like this sunny Tampa to this like shitty, windy, cold Milwaukee place, but I'd gone to this gym, and I remember like the happiest part of my day was when I got to the gym and I'd gone 2 times in a row and I had a little chat with the receptionist. Do you know what I mean? Just like a bit of contact with someone. Like, it was great. And it just very quickly dwindled for me.
It's an accumulation of prep as well. It's not just
of course.
We're so isolated on prep. I found it hard. Obviously went through a lot of shit at the beginning of the year, and you almost self-inflicted, but it's a build-up, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it all kind of came to a head. And my biggest mistake for that prep was like taking a day off after New York. Felt I had something to celebrate, and instead like that.
What was that weight gain?
Do you know, it's probably not my best ever, but I think I've got on like I've done better than that. But I think I did. I think it was like I was like 6 kilos up after it, because Cal gave me a whole day off, and
yes, but I can't do that.
I don't blame him.
Brutal.
I don't blame him for that, because like I felt like celebrating. He thought, you know, we've got 2 weeks until the next one, it'll be fine. But after that, I really had to get into the gutters. And once you get a taste for like normal life, it's
game
I
over.
could tell, man. I remember seeing you in my bar, and I was thinking, fucking hell, this geezer.
yeah,
The Ben and Jerry King.
We went to go and see an England game, and the simple task of us going out for it, we had a couple of pints and some. He was like, "Can you get some nuts?" I was like, "All right, get some crisps." And then we went to this burger place. It was like Spain's best burger in 2020. I mean, that must have had about 2,000 calories in. 3 tubs of Ben and Jerry's cookies.
I remember the battle.
He's an empty. I've never seen anything.
I was feeling a hole of sadness.
It was. So, what's the plans moving forward in terms of? I mean, there's a lot of talk about you going to classic now. Is that a case of you kind of achieving a certain physique or size and then going? Well, we'll see how we get on.
I think there's a few, as I said, like a lessons from last year. I think the first thing you can say is like all 3 of us have always had a affinity towards classic. Like, I don't doubt at some point you may go there, unless like physique, you realise you can get to the top in physique, but like it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, it's like true bodybuilding in my eyes. I think if I spend all these years bodybuilding and then never actually get my legs out and never pose and never pick a routine, like,
it's great. I loved it. That is the one thing that I just felt completely free out there when you're posing. As soon as you nail a song and find a song and you think and you start, you know, doing all the choreography in your head, I think everyone needs to experience it at least once.
Yeah, there are so many reasons to it. I think the reason, the kind of nail in the head, was like, I think once it was a real realization for me being out in America and seeing the caliber of these American guys. I mean, there was a few things. It was like, one, size wise, I was matching them but not getting anywhere near them in terms of placings.
Sure.
And then, you know, there's much smaller people than me placing much better than me. I think there's a big emphasis on like the ab column, which I've put a lot more time into now developing, but like I can get away with that in classic a bit because vacuuming is definitely like a strength of mine. So there's a few reasons. I think I realised that actually when I come back and think about a game plan for physique, I don't think there's much more I can do to be the best in the world at men's physique. Like, I look at Brandon Hendrickson, and I'm not going to beat this guy.
Yeah.
It's actually Andre is actually one of the people that makes me think that's not for me. I'm never going to be on that level, I don't think. But put me in a front double or a back double, and I think like
Then you'll be him.
I'm back.
Yeah, because
So,
some of your shots are scary. Do you know what I mean? They're just.
And so I think you suit classic really nicely. I think fill in a few of those gaps which have been probably developed from men's physique anyway, hamstrings, glutes, things like that.
Yeah. No, there's like, I'm absolutely under no illusions of the amount of work that needs to be done, but I'm excited for it. I feel like very hungry for it.
Good.
Which is
because I guess probably coming off the back of that prep, that hunger was probably fucking only for food, right? Not for like getting better. Yeah, whereas I mean, like obviously I came off like get my program. I'm like, I'm ready for the next league, right? So
yeah, I think I needed a new challenge, and there's so many reasons, like even just the excitement of competing, and like music's massive for me. So to be able to I'm gonna put so much effort into like picking the right song, and I want it to be a song that maybe no one's really heard. I want it to evoke emotion. There's so much about it that I'm excited for. So I needed that back.
But you're seeing kind of classic drip fed a little bit into kind of open bodybuilding now, but especially like the way they hold themselves and the little kind of slants, and especially their posing. Like, was it the Arnolds this year with Diasha and
Samson?
Yeah,
Samson,
I mean, like,
unbelievable.
The difference between those two is brilliant. And Samson's like, I mean, I was crying.
Yeah,
I was actually in tears, not like blubbering, but I was like, "Fuck, this is powerful." And then Diasha just comes on with a bit of bugs.
Bit of drill, didn't he?
This is brilliant.
Bugs there.
This is absolutely incredible. But yeah, your passion for music, I think you'd suit. But I think like there's I think people are now going hyper classic. I think it's almost, we need to be very careful with classic bodybuilding, because I think we're about to butcher it. It is too much. It's like, right, but you can't just do that for 2 minutes. Yeah. There needs to be, that's fine, but there needs to be a build up and drop.
Still bodybuilding, still
yeah,
get them
but
poses.
don't just fucking butcher it.
It's not dance.
Yeah, precisely.
It's not dancing. It's posing, with an element of performance. Like, but we're not dancing.
Nah, and then people obviously they react, because it's like the first time a lot of audience members have seen it in the lower level shows. People are now getting so gassed up, like, you are the best poser, and you think, go and watch Ruff's performance. They're nowhere near on their level.
I think the one thing I will say is, like, I think we can probably all sit here and agree that Chris Bumstead is by far not the best poser.
No.
He doesn't go over. He doesn't go over.
I don't think he even makes a routine.
No, he doesn't.
I think he literally just.
And he said that, didn't he? He said, I
rocks up.
I put a tune on, and in my head I've got what pose I need to do. And there's no flow to it.
No, exactly.
There's nothing.
Don't discount physique and condition for posing and then call yourself a fantastic classic.
No, but then it all goes to their head, because they jump off stage and they change their fucking Instagram name to whatever, and I think, oh my, come on now.
Yeah,
it's just that's just the way the fitness industry's going. I think a lot of it's going to people's heads at the moment.
Absolutely, Josh. I think in terms of like we've kind of spoken a bit about Tom's next year. Now I've spoken a bit about mine. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions in terms of next year business, but also like competing. The first one was like, what are you most excited for when it comes to your pro debut season, and what content are you going to bring to it? Because your content has gone up like a whole few echelons like over the last year. Will there be like, will you want to take Andy wherever you go? Like, what's the levels there? And like I said, what are you most excited for in terms of that pro debut season?
I think seeing where I stand with the big boys, honestly, like really just like, is it going to be that I get walked all over? Am I going to be able to hold my own? Am I going to be able to stand next to some people? Like, for example, you stood next to fucking, what's his name, E Banks.
Yeah,
like literally second in the world, and you were next to him in a call out. I want that. I need that. Right. I need to go and see myself next to number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, top 10 in the world, and be able to start that visualization process again. I'm under no illusions that it's going to be extremely hard to even qualify, let alone get a top 10, 15 in the Olympia. So I need to be able to visualize that, by standing next to them. So that's the thing. I think, I like you, I think for me it sounds like a dream, flying around the world, competing. So I'm ready to live that. And in terms of content, I'm going to take Andy wherever I can. We'll take him everywhere, literally.
Just need to book him before Luke does.
Yeah, I've already given him a few months.
I'll be there as well. I don't compete now. I've done it all, so I'll be there. I was screaming. Remember, I come to your show. Where was it? In Luton, was it?
Birmingham. Was it Birmingham?
No, that was when I was screaming. I was. Even
Ryan
like
Terry
Ryan
classic.
Terry turned and was like, "Is this kid alright? It's like an amateur show. He's getting a bit excited." I was like, "Nah, fucking go on, Josh." It's good, but that's what I'm looking forward to. Coming, I mean, if you can get to Olympia, that'd be, I mean, that's amazing.
Be unreal.
December,
unreal.
Vegas. Yeah, that's crazy.
Absolutely incredible. How's the how are you getting on in terms of your what's the plan this year for time frames in terms of you healing up and getting back on?
So at the moment, I'm in a little bit of discomfort, but I'm doing all right. So
What was the surgery?
we've had
everyone?
gynecomastia surgery.
Does that mean you were taking steroids?
You're taking too
Oh
much
my
tests.
Cal pushed it too hard.
Not enough AIs, bro.
Going bitch tits, mate. No, I think
It's something you've had for a few years, right?
Hmm?
Something you've had for a few years.
So I got asked this yesterday. I distinctly remember, like, my pro card prep, there was no noticeable sign of gyno. But I look back to like years before, like actually natty checking photos, and I think there was something there, like pubertal anyway. So I think from then, I've said this kind of openly, it can be managed for sure for so long. But actually, if you're going to keep taking anabolics, you know, we talk about like a safer use model and not using AIs. The way I kind of sit here and understand it is we're using this sort of titration model at the moment. Let's say you're on 200 meg and it's fine, and then you go 250 and then you go 300 because it was fine. You probably are going to, let's say you notice some sensitivity and a bit of something for 14 days. So you put an AI in, but actually, like, this stuff takes time. So then you take the AI out and put Master or Primo in to modulate that ratio. But you've just spent 7 or 14 days or 21 days growing a little bit of tissue.
Being exposed to it.
And I think the time, you know, you do that again and again, it's just more binding, there's more binding. And eventually it's going to come to a point, if you're one of the unlucky ones, if you like, that you're going to have to get it cut out, so you don't have to ever have to worry about it again. So yeah, I had the procedure. I've kind of covered it on YouTube, so I'll go through it in more detail there, but it was okay. It wasn't pleasant. I think I've had a quite adult approach to it in terms of, like, this is not going to be very nice. It has to get done. Let's crack on with it. Recovery is, I believe, about 4 to 5 weeks, hopefully sped up a little bit by peptides and growth. And then, yeah, hopefully be back to it. But we've made the most of this last 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I'll make the most of the next 6 months.
That
So.
mini bulk
Yeah.
picture was insane.
Turbo bulk.
That was like
Fucking hell.
ridiculous. I didn't. You just thought, because we speak all the time, so you're kind of unaware, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then you see it. I mean, I know you just moved into your new place, so we went for a Nando's. And just the looks that you get when we're out is mental. I can't.
People just double take.
Yeah, it's insane. And
I
then
feel
you get,
big
oh my
now.
god.
Yeah.
Oh my god, look at him.
But yeah, that's the plan. I think, what is it now? Start of November. I'd like to think by mid-December I'll be sort of training back at full pelt. And obviously, like you said, with being back in London now, I'm hoping to get more sessions in with you guys. I think I'll do 90% of my sessions at Crayford, so I'm excited for that. I think we're going to hopefully get the other half of the off season that perhaps we missed. You know, and the prep that we missed last year, which is
that was a shame.
Exciting.
That was a shame. I think we all had high expectations of how that, you know, we all wanted that to plan out, and it didn't quite. But yeah, I think now we're in a good position. I'm in a nice position where I can literally just tag along with any of you two. Like Josh was doing chest the other day. I was like, yeah, I'll jump in with you, do chest.
What's your training setup now? What have you got? Is there a plan?
I'm trying to get back to kind of peak off-season numbers in terms of strength, whilst, you know, my test has always been relatively on the lower side. So I've got my bloods back from mini checks, like 15 nanomolar. Even when we blast it, it never really goes. Do you know what I mean? Because I always get, oh, you
King of fake gear, innit?
yeah, like, you look like that for taking that. And I go, well, I'm actually only like 2 nanomolar out of like physiological, so it's not really. Do you know what I mean? So then they sort of go, and then their wires cross. But I've like mid to low test levels at the moment, and I feel good. A lot when I put that picture up, they were like, "You not feel like dog shit?" I'm like, I feel the healthiest I've ever been. Yeah. I'm running. I'm spot boxing. I feel unbelievable. Yeah. But in terms of I'm just following like a very bro-ish chest and triceps, some back in there, like a posterior session, arms, and then some legs, and then I'm just very much enjoying. Like you spoke about that on an Instagram post a while back about how much of a big impact actual enjoyment in training has on progression. You know what I mean? So I'm getting back up to those off-season, kind of peak off-season numbers in terms of like Cybex incline pressing. I'm like, fucking hell. Yeah. You know, and it doesn't feel like I'm dieting either. I said that to you the other day. I do not feel like I've dropped 4 kilo. I just don't know where it's gone. You know what I mean? I do protein in calories, so 220 protein, hit that every day, and the rest I make up through high fat, low carb, high fat.
Whatever you fancy on the day.
And it does not feel like I'm dieting. Like today I've woken up, done my steps, taking the dog out, had a bacon egg sandwich and my fruit and that. And what's the time now? Getting up to like 3-4 o'clock. I think I've got nearly 2,000, just under 2,000 calories left to eat. This is mental. So yeah, it's a nice position to be in, not living on kind of either end of extreme.
And at the moment, you don't have to actually worry about optimality so much. You don't need to. So actually, like, maybe there's some movements that aren't optimal, if you like, but if you enjoy them, you've got free reign to put them in your program, because at the moment it's about enjoyment. You still, you know what I mean? It all works, right? So you don't have to take that consideration. If there's any movements you just fucking hate, then you don't have to do them.
And there's also a nice element of just like, I just want to be a fucking animal, man. I envisage coming off, soon, depending on whatever's going on in my own life at the moment. But yeah, just being completely natty and then just trying to just be a fucking natural ripped out animal. Like when we went to Gymshark with Johnny, his physique as a little boxer, I just think I love that, mate. Just fast whip. I love that, and it's nice because I feel like I got a lot of questions after. I think it was when we went to the expo. I got a lot of questions of when we was all together from people saying, "Oh, do you not feel like how are you coping now? You're not as big as those two." I'm like, well, I never was as big, or like I've always been the smaller one of the. Do you know what I mean? Like little baby brother almost. But like now, it's not affected me in any way. Like I feel almost like that. I almost feel like that geezer in the gym that looks at you two and goes, "I used to look like that." Like I quite get off on feeling like that. It's quite a nice feeling. But yeah, that was quite a big question at those expos. Like, do you not feel like I'm like, no, because my goals have changed. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of us in the industry are so fixated on the correlation to big means power. Like being big means that your business is flowing and whatnot. It's not like that. Everyone's got individual different goals, and yeah, I feel good. I feel nice to be in this position.
Good. I think it's good. I think actually taking that, people can take a lot away from that as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Size doesn't mean a whole lot. You know what I mean? And in again, going back to what you said around or where you're trying to market in the normal world, who actually wants to be walking around at 125 kilos and actually trying to be a really good bodybuilder?
Yeah.
It's not nice.
And it's interesting to hear you say you're doing the opposite of what a lot of people, like, you hate it. Like, you wear oversized t-shirts.
Yeah, the same as me.
Do you know how my mates look at you and think, oh my God, they always ask, they go, I think we all went out once. We went with like a little double date to Beckham, remember? We went to Miso's, and my mates were having a pint in the pub, and they were like, oh my God, it's him. Like, they think he's this god-like guy when you're shredded, and like you're doing the opposite, and you're trying to cover up. It's just it's mad to kind of hear
I've never been one for the
tight t-shirt,
the extra mediums. Shout out the extra medium gang.
It's a double XL. Feels like a medium.
Yeah,
it's made bigger clothes.
Feels, mate. That's what I mean. But yeah, you rocked up here in a oversized hoodie. So I mean, I'm just never. It's not been my style before, and it's not going to be it.
No, it's not. I think it's quite nice. It's a nice bit of balance, actually. It's quite endearing to see that. Because if I look like you, I'd be wearing vests everywhere. Everywhere, and short. I'd be wearing like.
It's honestly so uncomfortable. Like been to like a beach, like a pool, and you're just like, I feel a bit like
that's mental.
I feel gawped at. I feel just like I need to like cover up. I feel I need to go shower.
But then you look at Bumstead when he went to Mexico.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's just too.
I'd love to get him on there and ask how he.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't walk around in tight clothes. He's oversized essentials hoodies, and do you know what I mean? I think I like it. I think it's like you said. There's like a modesty to it, and I love that. I think humble and modest is something you always want to come across as. So do my best.
But it makes you look bigger as well. I've always found that if you actually look bigger in a t-shirt that's a bit bigger than you actually are, because especially if you've got your forearms, like, do you know what I mean?
It's just funny when I go out and I'm like, why are you asking me what I bench? Why are you looking at me funny? And I was in Zara the other day, and I really got my back up with someone because he asked me all these stupid questions, and and then whoever I'm talking to when I'm I'm with, and I'm like, well, you are bigger than me. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, that's when it can get a little bit weird, I suppose. Like for me, when I remember going to the streets after we all got let out of lockdown, and people were asking me about diet plans. I'm like, I'm off my trolley here, mate. I can't. What are you? He's like, well, I work in an office, and I'm just thinking, what you think about nutrient time? And I'm thinking, Mike Skinner is up there, and you're asking
flowbymore.com.
Yeah, flowbymore.com. Sign up, and you'll answer the questions there. But I think and this is what kind of leads us on to how to deal with saying no, which is kind of an issue that you've struggled with recently.
Yeah.
And about how we can potentially make it a little bit better for you. Because I've got good at saying, I almost get off on saying no now.
I'm honestly the worst for it. And I find myself very anxious and very awkward, and I'm like, I'm just going to say yes so it stops. Like that, I'm like, I don't know how it's feeling, I'm just going to say yes so it stops, because no is going to make me feel really awkward.
You know, I had a girlfriend like you in the past, and she came back and told me that she gave her number out one night, and I said, why did you do that? You got a girlfriend, you got a boyfriend, and she was like, well, it's just easier to give it out.
A real number or fake?
No, a real number.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either.
And I was like, why didn't you give a fake one out? And well, you could have called me there and then.
Yeah, that's true. Or do the WhatsApp trick.
Just say no, I have a
Look
boyfriend.
at the
It's much
profile.
easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But do you get a lot of, it's my boyfriend's birthday, can you do a happy birthday?
So I'll get, it's my boy's birthday, it's my best friend's birthday, he's your biggest fan, can you like whatever, send something, can you sign something one of our?
Yeah.
And I'll you know what, sometimes I'll play it smart and I'll be like, yo, whatever you want, add onto the basket, and I'll send you that for free as well, because it's like a nice little thing that I don't need to shout about publicly, but it works behind the scenes.
Of course, it is tricky, but I think you get to an area where you almost have to be, you have to be a bit of a bastard, just because you're looking at that in terms of time for money, like the value, like and I'm coming up to sort of 10 years in the industry now, and when someone says, can you do this podcast, or can you, I think I'd love to, but then like that's an hour or that's 2 hours. So then I have to almost be an arsehole and look at their followers and go, right, well, I'm not really going to get much in return here. And I know I think that's a really horrible thing, but there's an element of like business to it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You are a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally.
I think what you're saying is totally right, especially in that space. It is about what am I going to get out of this, or I think what the problem is you'll see a lot of like business coaches saying that everyone that speaks to you is a potential customer or something. That's in the back of my mind when I get asked a question. No matter how stupid it is, no matter how much I want to tell someone to literally get out of my inbox, I'm just like, could be a paying customer one day though, so better be polite. So there's that kind of trade-off, and I don't know at what point you get to a point where you can just choose, because I have a bit of a constant anxiety of no matter how things are going well, I could lose 20 clients tomorrow. Yeah. And that's a lot of income. So there's something to be said for that. But yeah,
you get to a point like when that McGregor interview, when he was saying to him, it seems like you're choosing what you want. He said, I'm fucking choosing what I want. I've been in the game 10 years. I've turned this amount of money for UFC. I'm living in whatever the fuck I want life. So there needs to be that almost element of self-confidence to go, you know what? Sorry, mate, you're not really going to do much for me. Nah.
Well, especially when you've got a new brand or a new product to release.
Oh, man,
you've got a lot of work to do. Right?
Yeah, massively.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
And I want people to work with companies that are in line with me, because if you and kind of saying yes, maybe not clients or like boyfriend messages, for example. If you start saying yes to companies, you just become a walking advertisement. You look at the Love Island lot that come off, their story is just fuck me. There was a time whereby I think one guy had 3 different teeth whitening companies. You think, hold on, mate, what one am I supposed to be buying from here? So when you start to grow a following and you have to then be sensible and go, you know what? Firstly, do I like the product? Yeah. Does it fit in line with me and my audience? Yeah. Let's work together. If you say no at those first 2, then you can't just say yeah because you feel bad. There needs to be that element of like, I'm putting my foot down here. Yeah. I'll manage you if you want.
Yeah, I need it.
I'll manage.
I need something.
We can all manage each other.
Join inbox.
The way I de-rationalize it to myself and end up saying yes is because I go, is it much off my back to just click add the story? Or this is a touchy one that I get, and you guys might relate. I don't know. Someone will go, I'm doing this charity run. Like, can you share this charity? And like, I don't do it, and I'm like, well, why not you just do it? Because you just share it and whatever gets not. And I feel because I like to pick and choose exactly what I represent. Like, 100%, for example, 100%. That's just like another example. That's quite hard to like. I feel bad for saying no, so like sometimes I might just do it if it's like a particular cause. But other times I'm like, is it wrong for me to feel like I don't owe this person anything? So why should I do it? And I'm like, it kind of feels wrong a little bit sometimes. No, so that's why I'll be like, you know what? It's 10 seconds out of my day. I'm just gonna wish this kid happy birthday. Fuck it.
But then you just end up saying yes to every charity.
But then I say yes to exactly.
It's almost
as soon as you say yes to one, it floods in.
Yeah, and it's almost like you feel bad when I was getting some clothes the other day, and they said, "Do you want to donate this to that?" And I thought, if I say no, everyone in the queue is going to think I'm a right cunt. And so, and
I just spent a couple hundred
I said
quid.
no, like, but I do this and that. So just to make myself feel better, I was like, I do a bit. Of
Yeah, that's what I say. That's exactly how I say it.
I think they're the easiest ones. If when you at Tesco, it's like, do you want to round up? I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Do you?
Yeah. It's normally like
You're
a
a good
quid.
guy, Joe.
I think it's like, if that's the least I can do, I try and give a bit of charity or a bit of, because donating is tax free in it. So, if I,
So,
There we
okay.
go. There's the real reason.
That's it.
Bastard.
Profit was good this year. Need to get that down.
They do. they do it on
Everyone
Domino's
wins.
now as well at the bottom.
yeah,
I just click no because the amount of Domino's I eat on a weekly basis, I'll be broke through charity donations. But yeah,
Yeah, I think I just need to pick and choose those battles a little bit better. I
especially
find,
as you're getting busier, mate. Like,
yeah, that's like the numbers of messages like that are just only increasing.
and also you've got to take into consideration, you know, if someone's asking you to reshare something from a business standpoint, you've got so many thousand followers, they're going to get a load of business. You're going to get fuck all, and they're going to cash in.
Yeah.
So you've also got to think, hold on a second, if I reshare your seminar or your whatever,
No,
you're going to gain probably a decent conversion from my lot because, you know,
thousands of pounds.
thousands of pounds.
Thousands of
And what am I
pounds.
getting out of it? No, oh, cheers, mate.
Yeah,
I think, well, let's fuck. If we're doing a business, then I'll share that, and I want 10% of this and that.
give me a code. Do
Yeah,
something.
code's always good.
If we believe in it, then I'll go for it.
Of course.
Nah, I know that's the hard thing.
I'm sure you'll get better. Just start hanging around with me more often. You'll soon say no to everyone and everything.
No message requests, just delete straight all of them.
No. Any more questions you had on your phone, Joe?
there was a.
Or are we saving them for episode 2?
Well, there was a final one for Josh, and I mean, we've kind of gone off rail a bit, but it was just about, because I think I had this thought process. I was going into my pro season was like, are you putting anything in place to deal with that continued increase in like traffic, audience, customers? Like, you must be sensing that next year hopefully will be even bigger in terms of like,
Yeah,
what's the plan to deal with that, right? Are you
Yeah, I
gonna
thi-
capitalize or
yeah. So with the sides of my business, I mean, I don't need to worry about the sponsors. It's only going to go up with people. With coaching, I kind of have a natural cap that I kind of just feel I don't really need to ask for clients. I just kind of might lose a few, but I also gain a few that week. So it's kind of very natural. So if that demand starts to increase, I mean, I will just keep my cap there and keep moving them to my second coach, whose cap will probably not be able to be filled, you know, because he could do the same as me. And then in terms of one of mine, that's where I've kind of started to pick things up a little bit. Like, if I want this to be a big thing, I need to start acting like it. I need systems in place.
Definitely.
I need to be having, like, we've just acquired the warehouse. We've just acquired someone who works there for customer service. Obviously, you know, those processes that we're trying to put in place now is just to try and get ahead of that. Like, I want to be able to, I want that to be my thing, right? I want that to be my big brand and my main driver of income. And I can focus a lot more on bodybuilding because, you know, as you guys know, like, coaching it's demanding. Like, it's very demanding, like, time-wise. You know, even kind of like emotional-wise, you've got to invest into people. You actually have to care to be able to be a good coach.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, you know, rather than just like churning out numbers and becoming this 10 fall off, 10 come on, just constantly churning people out. It's you got to emotionally invest. And I'm not saying I don't want to do that. I just know that time, eventually I would like to be towards, you know, maybe the business, you know, and just more time focused on bodybuilding as
It
well.
has a life cycle, right?
Exactly.
I remember thinking that, like, one of the reasons that I didn't do the sort of transition for so long to work for myself was like, I don't know if I want to be a coach at 40 years old or 50 years old, but
Yeah.
eventually what you know drove me to come over that was like, nah, come on, like, believe in yourself a little bit, do this for 5 or 10 years, and then hopefully something else will come along if you've got anything about you, which obviously we all hope we have, but
You just start to stack things as you. I think everyone. You know, I remember listening to Luke in a podcast talking about how online coaching really is just another 9 to 5. Like, this whole excitement, leaving one job to become a coach is, you're just changing your hours. Let's not, you know, you haven't left your job to become some crazy crypto guy that's making 30 bag a day. It's not like you're literally leaving one 9 to 5 for another one. So it's very important that time to start making other avenues. You know, I think online coaching definitely has a shelf life for a lot of us.
you see it with almost anyone who does end up becoming a successful. Like, I think JP's just dropped all of his clients. He doesn't coach anyone now because he said, like, it's too stressful.
Yeah, I can see Cal doing it. Cal is just galvanising the game. I can see him, boom, and then
Exactly. He's coined himself as the prep dude, right? So his business model is to be the coach, but for a lot of other people, and not as good as Cal. So, like,
yeah,
you know, you just, like, unless you're gonna get the drips and drabs,
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, you're gonna be a really good coach, but there's going to be a lot of other things that are going to open up for you if you're growing your profile right properly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've drawn a huge amount of inspiration from Cal in terms of like coaching, but even now I'm like, how does he do it? Because I have a time every now and then when I need to just take a step back and like, I've just taken all my clients off of Saturdays and Sundays, just so that I feel like I can get a couple of days.
So
to
you
like
doing Saturday and Sunday check-ins?
No, I have it off.
Yeah,
so
good. But so you were doing check-ins on a Saturday and Sunday?
I had them on the only day I had off was a Saturday, and even on that day I had one. So I
Still
just
working.
and I think it's probably one of the best things I've done, because let's be honest, like there's not many people that work freely, if you like. So it makes sense for me to work Monday to Friday, right? So I might as well. And I think that's one of the better things I've done, because I need a break. I still obviously answer inquiries. It's not you can't contact me at the weekend, but response times might be a bit slower, or not if it's a show. That's the other thing as well. I was noticing that as I got more clients that competed, I might need a Sunday to go to a show. So there's no point in me having check-ins and a show, because I get home at 8 o'clock anyway. Then I've got fucking 20 check-ins to do. So yeah, there's a lot of things I've done, but I think probably where Cal completely succeeds is because I'm pretty sure he only focuses on coaching. And if you focus 100% on something, then you're going to be good at it, right? Whereas
it's like prep, isn't it? You look at a business like prep and you see what happens.
Exactly.
Which is crazy. But for me, I'm always like for clothing for you, man. I think your clothing thing, you think you can get your teeth into that.
I hope so.
Properly. I think it will be crazy. Those t-shirts are brilliant.
Yeah, we'll give that a go. That would be that's like a longer term goal for me. I remember someone asked me a little while ago in a question time, like, why don't you start selling bands and D handles? And I was like, why would I do that?
Yeah, no, that is.
Like, do you know what I mean? What, just a Brightman one? What's the fucking point in that?
Yeah.
Just become another carbon copy and a less successful one, which is what everyone's proven that they're doing of yours already. Which is, I think, why I find it galvanizes us to almost support you more. Because I'm like, nah, fuck off. You're not having a piece of that pie.
No, that's why
Josh started it, and he's the best at it.
That's what I say. Whenever I see anyone try and break into that field, and I go, don't do it. You don't. It's a no from me.
There's a lot of copies out there. There's a lot of copies out there. In fact, there's one. I'm not gonna say. I'll say on the podcast, but I'm not gonna say the name. We all know who we're talking about here when I talk about it. So I sent said person a pair of cuffs, like as a yo, check these out. Let me know what you think. Enjoy them. Anything you ever need, let me know. A few months goes by. Oh, can I have a pair of these? Yeah, cool, no worries. So she has another pair of they have another pair. They have another pair of these. People are just going through Instagram now. Yeah. And
she's female.
And she carbon copied them.
Sent them off to us.
Literally sent
them. Can you
copy
these with my logo?
Literally changed like literally put her name on them, and that was it.
Fuck, man. That's just a little bit dark, innit?
Which is
imitation is a form of flattery, I suppose. When it's
change it a bit.
When it's a carbon copy, I remember one of my old clients came. I actually had it a couple of times whereby people have paid for a month of coaching, stopped just to use my sheets.
Yeah.
And I remember I sent you a print screen. I was like, he's not even changed. I'd rather you just ask, mate. Don't waste my time and your time spending how much for a month for coaching. I'll just sell. Because you sell your sheets, don't you?
Yeah, I've started selling.
That's quite. I think it's quite a nice, a little bit of passive income that the sheet selling.
Yeah, that was good. That was like I think it was actually Louis basically. I remember I spent obviously a lot of time with Louis in Dubai and then in America, and he was literally like, mate, I'm no good at this sheet stuff. Can I just have yours? I'll pay you. And I was like, yeah, 100 quid. And then I asked him a couple
you
months. You
charged Louis 100 quid for your sheet.
A couple months went
your
by.
Friend.
No, a couple months by, and I said, how much do you think?
This guy.
That's all right.
That's all right.
I would give you mine for free.
Free, mate.
Mine are fucking elite, mate.
Are they?
When you look at, I think, like in terms of the amount of time it takes, like some online coaches just have no Excel skill, right? So
yeah, true.
They would pay someone to do that. And I said to him, how much do you think they're worth? And he said 750 quid.
Don't tell me you're selling your
no,
shit
no,
for 750.
No, he was like, he's saving that much money. And I was like, right, well, I'm just going to start marketing them. Half price. 349 they sell for. I've sold them to about 20 coaches.
Oh my God.
So
that's just blown my mind.
I might have to do that.
You must have seen me doing it. I don't know why.
You need to show me these sheets, because I do a weight loss graph and think.
Didn't you do how to do your sheets on your website?
Yeah, that did really well.
That was $5.99, so you're fucking ripping us off.
$5.99 times 4,000, mate.
Yeah, true.
But no, it's I think that kind of goes back to what I said about that sort of like, well, is this going to work out? But I think as you plow energy into something, and if that is being your own, I can't stop. I have to keep thinking about things, and eventually doors will open. Like
exactly.
Us three sat here is another example of that. Like this immediately is going to make us no money. But I just hope, one of my main reasons for doing this was I like spending time with you two, I like chatting with you two, and I'm damn sure there'll be some good ideas come out of this, just 2 hours together a week. So I think there's something to be said in that.
I'm just trapped in this sheet. Where do you get your experience? Is it from working in John Lewis?
Yeah.
Is that why?
Everything was on.
So Amy did all mine.
Really?
She did all of it.
I'm
Every single bit.
dropped a bollock here.
Yeah.
Designed it all the algorithm, whatever the fucking stuff you put in it.
It's like I remember when I first got my job, I went from uni and went to John Lewis, and someone showed me a VLOOKUP. My mind was blown. It took me a week to work out how to function a VLOOKUP.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't, yeah, exactly. If you don't understand
Sorry,
this,
what?
so that's where you have basically like a reference sheet in the background.
Right.
So like for my exercise, my training plan, right? So what I've got is like on the left, you've got what is the exercise? It's a drop down list.
Right.
So I choose from that list, and then I select it, and then on the right pops up the tutorial video or the word.
Yeah.
And it looks simple, but actually, if you don't know how to do it, I'm gonna save you a lot of time by giving you my sheets. What I find a bit weird, and this is up to whoever buys them to do what they want with them, but a lot of them are now using my video exercise library, which I'm like, that's fine. But you probably just
have you just seen the videos go up? The views go
That's
up.
good for you.
Exactly.
Though.
You just
You're
market
everywhere.
Exactly. I'm like, you
You're
can
a
use
genius.
them.
Are they on YouTube, your videos?
Yeah. So it's a if you had the link, you could watch the videos. It's like,
Yeah.
filmed it. From
I was thinking about
clients.
making mine public, my private exercise library.
Mate,
But you lose a little bit of, obviously, use that as a selling point.
Yeah.
But
I'd keep them. I think the whole private exercise library thing is good, man. It's a
Yeah.
good way to get them in, especially with the combined knowledge that we've had from coaches, and I think it's a good way in. That's very interesting. I'm gonna have to look at those sheets.
Take a look.
We're gonna wrap up there. Hope everyone enjoyed the first episode. We'll be back next week. I mean, this isn't going out for some time. Having to nail the kind of logos and whatnot, but we will get to a position whereby once these start going out, we can get your feedback in terms of questions from you guys on Instagram. We will open up our own Instagram, and I mean we just go all in. TikTok,
yeah,
TikTok's blowing now, isn't it?
yeah. That's one thing that we said to each other before we started this was like, if we're gonna do this,
Do it properly.
we're gonna do it properly. That's why we got set up. That's why we want to do it properly.
Of course.
Give ourselves a few weeks to brand, coin, and begin our content.
Yeah, amazing. Right, make sure you wear your poppies next time, boys. What's going on?
Yeah, sorry about that.
My granddad, yeah, D-Day, first wave, machine gun bullets. Out of respect for him, please.
I don't like to upset anyone, mate. We live in a
Ah.
21st Nemanja Matic.
If anyone turns off this YouTube video because we're in poppies, we don't want him in our circle. Right, thank you very much.
Cheers,
Great to
everyone.
see you, boys. See you soon.
Goodbye.